to the Lufkin Angelina County Chamber of Commerce very first live Chamber University of 2021. We are thrilled to have all of you starting to come and join us and to see what we have going on today. We're very excited to launch our new Chamber University. For those of you who have never attended a Chamber University, whether in person or live, wanted to give you a little background on the program. This is truly a program that is for our business community. We talk about topics such as strategic development. We have a great marketing conference that we hold every fall. We focus on customer service, social media skills, sales, human resources, and much, much more. We want to give you the tools and the resources that you need. So if you have certain topics that you would like to see be covered during the year for our Chamber Universities, reach out to any of us here at the Chamber, and we'd love to set up topics that are specific for you and your team. We are trying to host these quarterly. However, in the past they've been quarterly. They may be every month or every other month as we start out the year. We want to make sure that you have the information needed. We're really excited today to have Dianne Amerine. She is the Executive Director of the Small Business Development Center at Angelina College. We're so blessed to have this incredible resource right here in Lufkin and Angelina County. And so I'm going to turn it over to Dianne. She's going to give you all of the information that you need for the new PPP and the EIDL loans that have come out today. So hang tight. We're going to flip chairs real quick.
Thank you, Tara, and welcome to everyone who came in today. I'm really honored to be here, and it's a very timely event because the applications are now online for our new stimulus package, loans and grants. I wanted to let you know that the SBDC is here and available at Angelina College. We are excited to help you prepare your applications and get ready. But today we're going to talk about an overview of exactly what the new act involves. It's called the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits, and Venues Act. It's a part of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021, and it provides funding to support small businesses impacted by COVID-19. And so we're really going to talk about what the difference is between this and the previous opportunities. So here are the key components of the act. The second draw of the Paycheck Protection Program loan, PPP2 is what this one will be called. And the previous one will be, of course, PPP1. Targeted COVID-19 Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or the EIDL advance. And we're all familiar with both of those, so this is just round two. The SBA generated loan debt relief, a very important component of this act. And the targeted programs are for the hardest hit businesses and the disadvantaged businesses. And we're going to talk about some of the resolution of the tax treatment for PPP forgiveness and debt relief repayment. So the first one we're going to talk about is PPP2. So here are the eligible businesses. You must have experienced at least one quarter in 2020 with revenues less than 25% of the corresponding 2019 quarter. You can have no more than 300 employees to qualify. You must have or will use the full amount of your initial PPP loan funds. But it will also serve the same business types as qualified for the initial PPP funds. So if you didn't get in on that, this is your opportunity. You had to be in business on February 15th of 2020. The loan limit is $2 million and $10 million if it's combined with the PPP1. And that's based on 2.5 times the average monthly 2019 payroll. That's the same as PPP1. So obviously it's the total payroll for the year divided by 12. That's going to give you your average monthly, and it'll be 2.5 times that. Or it'll be 3.5 times if you're a business with a NAICS code beginning in 72, which is hospitality, restaurants, those type businesses. And here are some of the changes. we have additional eligible expenses from the original PPP. So they're going to be allowing expenses for operational expenditures like software, cloud computing, HR, accounting expenses. They're going to allow expenditures for property damage costs if you had repair expenditures due to public disturbances that weren't covered by insurance. Supplier cost, supplies for costs that are essential to your business. Now, I think that might be a little confusing. However, I think the easiest way to understand that, it's probably most any cost of goods sold. So that's a wide range. Worker protection expenditures, which include costs incurred to protect your workers from COVID-19. It could include testing. It could include personal protective equipment. It could include the plexiglass shields or things like that that had to be installed to help control the spread of COVID-19. And also employer-provided group insurance can be included in payroll costs. And for a lot of people, that's a major expense, so it's a good thing. You can request an increase in the PPP-1 loan if SBA updated regulations would have allowed it. For example, the owner's draw. So that's another increase. So let's talk about how do we determine who's eligible. So an eligible business is a business that was operational February 15th of 2020 with less than 300 employees. So if you meet that criteria and you were in business the entire year of 2019, then you must show 1 quarter in 2020 where revenues were at least 25% less than the same quarter of 2019. So you compare 2020 with 2019. If you were in business the whole year, if you wanted to do quarter 1 of 2020, it would be with quarter 1 of 2019. If you were not in business quarter 1, but you were in business quarters 2, 3, and 4 of 2019, you must show 1 quarter in 2020 where revenues were at least 25% less than the 3rd or 4th quarter of 2019. Not in business quarters 1 and 2 or 3, but were in business in quarter 4, you must show 1 quarter in 2020 with revenues where revenues were less than 25% of the 4th quarter of 2019. And if you were not in business during 2019, but you were in business February 15th of 2020, you must show 1 quarter in 2020 where revenues were at least 25% less than the 1st quarter of 2020. So another category is the targeted COVID-19 EIDL advance changes. Okay, so the emergency EIDL grants were extended through December 31st of 2021. It repeals the EIDL advance deduction from forgiveness. So those loans that have already had forgiveness will be made whole. You can have the full amount of the loan. Targeted advances to eligible entities will be grossed up, and the difference between what is granted earlier and the $10,000. To qualify for the full $10,000 EIDL grant, a business must be located in a low-income community, have suffered an economic loss greater than 30%, and employ no more than 300 people. In addition, the business must qualify as an eligible entity as defined in the CARES Act. That's a small business, cooperative, ESOP, tribal community with fewer than 300 employees. An individual who operates as either a sole proprietor with or without employees, or as an independent contractor, or a private nonprofit or small agricultural cooperative. The business must have been in operation by January 31st of 2020, and the business must be directly affected by COVID-19. So economic loss, that term means with respect to a covered entity. A, the amount by which the gross receipts of the covered entity declined during an 8-week period between March the 2nd, 2020 and December 31st, 2021, relative to a comparable 8-week period immediately preceding March 2nd, 2020, or during 2019. And if the covered entity is a seasonal business concern, such other determined as appropriate by the administrator. So those are more challenging and more specific. So those will be handled that way. Now, I think one of the most interesting things that and beneficial debt relief parts of this bill or this act is the SBA guaranteed loan debt relief. So it pays an additional 3 months of principal and interest on existing 7A, 504, and microloans. This begins in February of 2021, next month, and is capped at $9,000 a month. After 3 months, businesses with selected NAICS codes will receive an additional 5 months of P&I payments capped at $9,000 a month. And I'm going to give you the designated NAICS codes beginning in the following numbers, and you'll recognize where you fall in this. 61, 71, 72, 213, 315, 448, 451, 481, 485, 511, 512, 515, 531, and 812. So it also pays 6 months of P&I for any new SBA generated loans approved before September 30th of 2021. It's a great incentive for people who are going to be starting up a business. For those new loans, it pays 3 months after the first 6 months of payments, and plus 5 months if you have a qualifying NAICS code, one of the ones I just mentioned. Improvements have been made to the SBA 7A program to increase SBA guarantees to 90% and reduce or estimate or eliminate some of the fees. So those are all good incentives to people who want to utilize SBA 504 and 7A programs and the microloans. So then the other topic we want to touch on are the grants for shuttered venues operators. That's a $15 billion SBA grants to theatrical productions and talent representatives, operators of live venues, live performing arts organizations, museums, independent motion picture theaters. They must demonstrate a 25% reduction in their revenue, and it can be up to $10 million with a potential supplement of 50%. There's $2 billion in set-asides for those with less than 50 employees. Timing of the grants. The initial 14 days, in the initial 14 days, the grants will be exclusively made for those venues that have had a greater than 90% revenue loss. The second 14-day period, the grants will be for those with a 70% or greater revenue loss. And after those 2 rounds, all other qualifying entries will receive awards. An important thing to note is that if you receive a grant, you cannot participate in PPP2. It's one or the other. And then the focus on disadvantaged businesses. $15 billion is set aside for community development financial institutions, CFDI, and minority depository institutions, MDI. The programs targeted at specific business segments are for childcare providers, transportation providers, including Uber, that sort of thing, and rental assistance. And then let's talk about the tax issues. So they resolved that the expenses paid by PPP funds can be claimed as business expenses. The revenue and the Treasury guidance would be to constitute double dipping, and they couldn't be used for business expenses. It makes the language retroactive as if it was included in the original CARES Act. So expenses paid by PPP funds can be claimed as business expenditures. There's been a lot of question about that. And then debt relief from P&I will not be treated as income. It reverses recent guidance that required lenders to issue 1099 forms to borrowers benefiting from the program. And it makes the language retroactive to be included in the original CARES Act. So, the two big things: expenses paid by PPP funds can be claimed as business expenditures, and debt relief for P&I will not be treated as income. So that's a lot of information to digest. And so then the big question is, what can you do now? Well, the applications are already online with SBA. The first 2 days, yesterday and today, preferential treatment will be given to disadvantaged minorities, and then it starts rolling out for everyone else. I would say that the most important thing is to be ready. If you have already filled out paperwork prior for PPP1 or the EIDL, you know kind of what to expect. If you haven't, then you need to pull together all your financial information and be ready when the bank portals open, which will probably be at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. And that information is nearly identical to what was needed for the PPP1. So your next steps would be to review and see if you qualify, to get your information together, to make contact with your banker and be ready for when the portals open. And part of that readiness would be to have your application ready. If you need assistance with those applications, we have business advisors available to help you with that. You can call our office at Angelina College Small Business Development Center, and the number there is 936-633-5400, and we will connect you with a business advisor. Or you can go online at SBDC, Small Business Development Center, SBDC at angelina.edu, and email a request for assistance. Those opportunities will be available over email, over the phone, or with a video conference. They won't be in person, but assistance will be there. Now, I think one of the issues that people are concerned with when it comes to any kind of online application or governmental online application for sure is the fear factor of I don't know what to do, or I read and I don't understand exactly what they mean. And so we are happy to go through that application with you, line item by line item, whatever you need to get you ready for the bank. I think it's important to note that a lot of care has been given this time. We learned a lot in that first round, which was quite chaotic for the public, for small business, for the banking community, for SBDC, for anybody, SBA, because those programs were rolled out so quickly. This time they're trying to make that a little easier, and I would encourage you to reach out for help. If you don't know the questions to ask, we can figure that out together and get you ready for the bank. And I think that will take a huge burden off of the banking community, make the rollout a lot smoother. And I would encourage you to act quickly because, the funds don't last is the problem. I also want to let you know that here at Angelina College, we have received additional funding through the CARES Act and been able to hire two independent contractors who deal with financial matters and one who is a marketer. And the financial consultants will help you, of course, with the PPP and the loan, but they'll also help with other business services that you need. one of the concerns is people who have been affected by COVID, there's been, a problem with cash flow, revenues have been reduced, staff closures, various things. And you might need someone to help you look at restructuring your debt. And please don't wait until you are in a crisis situation where maybe your banker's hands are tied as far as helping you. We are happy to help you review your finances and see if debt structuring is something you need. We have that marketer available to help you get your product or services or business out there. It's an opportunity. All these services are no cost to you, so it's an opportunity to get some professional graphics at no cost to you. So we have a lot of things available, and not everyone knows about that. So now that you know, please give us a call and let your friends and family know. And we want to utilize the funds that we have to enhance our community and let the people here benefit from that. Because the way it works is if we don't use it, we turn it back in and it goes somewhere else. Sure would like to see that stay in our community with our local business people. If there are questions, I'm happy to answer questions. And otherwise, that is really what I have to sum up the rollout of the new funds. So that is all I have at this time. Thank you very much, and please give us a call. We're here to help.